Peter Schweizer, author of Red-Handed, How American Elites Get Rich Helping China Win, and president of the Government Accountability Institute, joins me now. So this is pretty shocking. Not only did he fly over there on the heels of this insider trading allegation with the dad, and they're trying to hide all evidence of it. They're scrubbing transcripts. There's no pictures from the American press. What the heck's going on here, Peter?
Yeah, Jesse, this is a particularly cynical and galling move by the Pelosi's. First of all, as you pointed out, Paul Pelosi Jr., Nancy's husband, has been under scrutiny for insider trading issues, the stock trades. He has to, of course, disclose his finances because he's the spouse of Nancy Pelosi. Your adult children do not need to disclose their financial transactions. So it seems like they've switched attention to their son's commercial activities. But to put even a tighter note on it, Jesse, look at what's happening here. Nancy Pelosi is flying to the Asia-Pacific region as the entire region is nervous and scared about the looming threat posed by China. And you've got the Speaker of the House coming in with a couple of other Democrats. They certainly want to have her good favor. And here, all of a sudden, her son is along for the trip. He's not a foreign policy advisor. He has no background, looking for business deals. This is what you call leverage. This is the sort of stuff you'd expect from the mafia, where you kind of create a demand for your own services. And the kind of services that Paul Pelosi Jr. is offering are very reminiscent of Hunter Biden's, by the way. They're vague. They're consulting. They're offering advisory services. They don't actually have some product that they're trying to sell. So it's a particularly galling and cynical move. And I applaud you for covering this because the rest of the mainstream media is totally ignoring this story.
Why do you think they are ignoring this story? Because as we said at the outset, that she had a gaggle of American reporters, photographers, cameramen, print people along for the ride. And they saw her and reported on her taking her little shopping trips, walking through everywhere, shaking hands with all of these Asian leaders. And Paul's right there. The son's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, so they knew the son was on the trip, but they purposely hid that from the American public. What does that tell you?
Well, I mean, the most hospitable thing you could say is this is a somewhat complicated story, and maybe they're lazy, but it's not that complicated, Jesse. The bottom line is most of the establishment media, the vast majority, they want access. The same reason that we started covering Hunter Biden in 2018. The fact that he went on Air Force Two with his father to Beijing, China, to close deals with the Chinese government. The media didn't want to cover it because they want access to Nancy Pelosi and guys like Joe Biden. And then, of course, there is, let's be blunt about it, the ideological bias. You've got people in the mainstream media that believe that Donald Trump is an existential threat to the American republic. And anything we do to report honestly or fairly on his political opponents is somehow aiding and abetting him. And we can't have that. So they put their thumb on the scale. That's not their job. It's the job of voters to decide who their leaders are. It should be the job and the role of the media to report the facts. And the facts here are clear-cut. If Donald Trump Jr. had traveled with his father conducting business deals overseas on Air Force One, we certainly would have heard about it, as we should hear about it. But we're not going to hear about it with Nancy Pelosi because they have their thumbs on the scale.
All right, Peter, thanks for joining us.